Good morning. Welcome to the Treasure Coast Unitarian Universalist Congregation in Stuart, Florida. Today is Sunday, September 21, and my name is Jackie Buckley. I'm your worship associate today. We are a welcoming congregation. We welcome people of all gender identities, ethnicities, ages, and backgrounds, recognizing the inherent worth and dignity of every person. We are on YouTube also. To be put on our email list or to find out more about us, Google TCUUC and you'll find our website. Note the email link to request our Friday online newsletter. And please, just a reminder to silence your cell phones if you haven't already. And now is our time to welcome any visitors who might be with us. And if they're willing, we ask them to come up to the microphone here to introduce themselves, but no pressure. That's fine. Okay.
Hello, good morning. My name is Carol Manson. I am coming here to see my husband, I think, to be accepted.
Welcome.
Let me say something.
Yes.
We're always happy to see new and somewhat new folks here with us, and we don't ever put pressure on anybody to come to the microphone. But Tricia and Jim just told me they got back here a few hours ago, and coming here so immediately, as I said, that sounds like commitment. Do you want to send your husband to the phone? And okay. Well, it's good to see you. And one of the last things Tricia said before they went north, back when it was in May, we'll be joining the church. So that will be happening, but not today. Good.
And now is our time for announcements. See the printed order of service or the Friday newsletter for event details. Just a couple of things to mention. The post-election support group is going to be meeting after our service today back here in the sanctuary following a brief time for coffee hour or coffee minutes and hopefully greeting our new members. And then please join us on the first and third Tuesdays at Poppleton Creek Park for our brown bag lunch. The park is just down the street here on Central Parkway, adjacent to the dog park. And we have coffee and refreshments in the social hall after the service. I'd like to give a big thank you for all those people helping with the service today. We've got Jackie Robbins, and Sandy Craig, our choir, our greeters, you know who you are, Janet Grote, and Judith Watt and David Gray are our greeters today. And our tech elf and support is Karina Poloni, and our backup tech help is Alastair Forrester. Our hospitality team today is Marguerite Gregory and Florence Treacle. And in the pulpit today is our own Reverend Bob MacDonald. And now for our prelude when they're ready. Thank you, Sandy and Jackie. And now for our chalice lighting. As we kindle this flame, may it spark in each of us connection and commitment to this living tradition and to each other. Our opening words this morning are a poem by Wendell Berry. It can be found in our hymnal, "The Peace of the Wild Things." When despair for the world grows in me, and I awake in the night in fear of what my life and my children's lives may be, I go lie down where the wood drake rests in his beauty on the water, and the great heron feeds. I come into the peace of wild things who do not tax their lives with forethought or grief. I come into the presence of still water and feel above me the day-blind stars waiting with their light. For a time, I rest in the grace of the world, and I am free. And now for our first hymn, number 118, "This Little Light of Mine." Stand if you're able. And now let us recite our affirmation, speaking the first verse and singing the second. Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another.
Uh, 647, an eternal verity. Ancient as the home is the temple. Ancient as the workbench is the altar. Ancient as the sword is the sacrificial fire. Ancient as the soldier is the priest. Older than written language is spoken prayer. Older than painting is the thought of a nameless one. Religion is the first and last, the universal language of the human heart. Differing words describe the outward appearance of things. Diverse symbols represent that which stands beyond and within. Yet every person's hunger is the same, and heart communicates with heart. Ever the vision leads on with many gods or with one, with a holy land washed by ocean waters or a holy land within the heart. In temperament we differ, yet we are dedicated to one august destiny. Creeds divide us, but we share a common quest. Because we are human, we shall ever build our altars. Because each has a holy yearning, we offer everywhere our prayers and anthems. For an eternal verity abides beneath diversities. We are children of one great love, united in our one eternal family. W. Waldemar W. Argo. And now we share matters of joy and sorrow, and we hope that they are personal and brief, and that you know as you share yours, you are heard and supported. Before I invite you, let me just mention that I have the cremains of Pam, our beloved Pam Corbin, and I will do with them what she asked this week, and we will have some in the vault here in an urn from her house. We will celebrate Pam's life on November 2nd at 12:30. A number of contacts have been made about that. Her cousin is bringing an instrument to play, he hopes, along with our instruments here, and we really want that to be a joyful celebration of her life. Wine that she set aside for that celebration is in my office, and I hope it will all be there as it is now on November 2nd. It will be aged a bit, but I promise it will all be there. Pam is absolutely irreplaceable. Now, who else can we invite to the microphone to share their matter of joy or sorrow?
I just want to call to our thinking another one of our lifelong UUs, Carolyn Haken. Carolyn had back surgery 2 Tuesdays ago and was back home the third day after that. She said to me when we texted at choir practice this past Wednesday night, I'm up and around, but very limited in what I can do. No bending, lifting, or twisting. I miss you all too. Hope to be back in 2 or 3 weeks. So let's send, as Janet would say, good vibes to Carolyn.
Good morning. I'm Bob Royce. We weren't here last week because we were on our way to Tampa Moffitt Cancer Center for Terry's annual and 6-month scan combined. And the outcome is all good. All her scans were clear. She remains cancer-free, coming on 4 years.
Oh, that's great.
We are grateful, joyful, and very, very humbled, because as you know, cancer has no mercy. So the other good thing that happened was last night we had my birthday celebration, and we got to see a fabulous band, Ultimate Devotion. It's a Grateful Dead tribute band, so I had a really good time. And thank you very much.
Is that a big number birthday with a zero?
It's a 0 plus a 1.
We certainly share your joy.
Hi, I'm Tia Breeding, and I spoke with Deb Harris this week. They had had their hearts set on buying this house they had seen, but the mortgage laws in Panama are really weird, and you have to pay off the whole mortgage by the time you're 70, which would give her a year and a half. So instead, they're looking at buying some land and building, but she always has her eye on a casita where people can come and visit. So she's still putting the word out there to come and visit.
Yeah, she and Francisco moved to Panama, where they felt safer because of his Hispanic background and document status, I guess. But anyhow, we certainly wish them happiness there, and we just can't help them pay off that mortgage. Anyone else?
Morning, I'm Joe. I have a sorrow at the sudden and unexpected passing of Dennis O'Donovan, the owner of the ACT Studio Theater. We just saw him last Sunday. He seemed perfectly fine, and by Wednesday, he had passed. There will be a memorial service in October. That's still being worked out. Words can't describe what Dennis did for the theater community in the Treasure Coast, and many of us are deeply saddened by what has happened. We dedicated our performance to him the other night, and we think he was pleased, but it's a difficult time.
Well, that is sad to hear, Joe. Thanks for letting us know.
My brother-in-law, who's 3 weeks older than I am, ended up back in the hospital last Sunday morning before I came into church, and it's a self-inflicted hospitalization, which seems to be happening fairly frequently for him. In the AA program, in 12-step programs, those of us who are doing well often tell other people who are struggling that when they thank us, that they don't need to thank us, that they are a part of our recovery. So I thank Jack all the time. And I just hope that he can find a way out. He has made a decision or decided that he needs to move away from the home where he's not welcome and find assisted living. And so I'm hoping that he succeeds in that and finds something good and nearby so he can be near his grandchildren. So it's a sad time, and I'm going to go and visit him right after the service today. Thanks.
Oh, sorry to hear all that. Family is a mystery. We say that now and then.
I'm Judy, and the last time I came up here, I spoke about my niece, Bridget, in Texas, and how she had been in the hospital for several weeks, and then she was in rehab. Well, she actually landed back in the hospital with pneumonia, which she gets often because of her issues. And, that's part of a very dysfunctional part of my family, my brother, my sister, and everybody. She sent me a text yesterday, a picture of her in the hospital bed, and she said, "I'm going home on Monday." So I'm really happy about that. She's a woman who has gone through so much health-wise and emotionally and all. So any thoughts you can put out to the universe for Bridget, that would be greatly appreciated.
Anyone else?
Hi, it's about the cello. Hi, I'm Jackie Robbins, and I have a joy, which is that when I left my condo this morning, I remembered, oh, my cello's still upstairs. And I ran back and got it, and here I am, just a little late. I believe I'm losing my mind, but in a really wonderful way.
We always move one for people that we don't say out loud. We know that most of us have one or many in our minds and hearts we worry about daily. This is for them. Thank you, Jackie. Now, the meditation are these words I lean on periodically from Emerson, the Oversoul. Let us learn the revelation of all nature and thought, that the highest dwells within us, that the sources of nature are in our own minds. As there is no screen or ceiling between our heads and the infinite heavens, so there is no bar or wall in the soul where we, the effect, cease and God, the cause, begins. I am constrained every moment to acknowledge a higher origin for events the higher origin for the events than the will I call mine. There is deep power in which we exist and whose beatitude is accessible to us. Every moment when the individual feels invaded by it is memorable. It comes to the lowly and simple. It comes to whosoever will put off what is foreign and proud. It comes as insight. It comes as serenity and grandeur. The soul's health consists in the fullness of its reception. Forever and ever, the influx of this better and more universal self is new and unsearchable. Within us is the soul of the whole, the wise silence, the universal beauty to which every part and particle is equally related, the eternal one. When it breaks through our intellect, it is genius. When it breathes through our will, it is virtue. When it flows through our affections, it is love. Ralph Waldo Emerson. And now moments of silence. Spirit of Life is number 123. We hum it once, we sing it once, seated or standing. And now our morning offering will be received. We hope that you experience generosity here in many ways, and you know that we need to experience yours so we may continue. And now the morning offering will be received. Who are my ushers this morning? I know I designated you, but I forget.
This is a Hebrew greeting song. Since I found out over the last couple of years that many people came to realize that their background was actually not just Judeo-Christian, but they actually had families who were Jewish, and that was revealed to them later in life. So this is called Havenu Shalom Aleichem. And it's a hello. Hello, have a good time.
Thank you. It's always a joy to welcome new members into our congregation. I was expecting 2 this morning. Is Nisha here? I don't see her. Another time. But we have John, who is... When John mentioned joining the church, John, I'll leave you up here closer to the mic. When John mentioned joining the church, he asked what flower we give to new members. And John, I didn't want to tell you that because I was afraid you wouldn't want to join. I don't give flowers. You'll join anyway? Okay. I know they'll be forthcoming. It'll be many other great promises. Yes. Anyway, we have an environmental committee here. Judy, are there any flowers out there? Oh, the mic, the mic. You want to be heard? Okay. John says he's going to join us with or without flower, but he's pretty sure a flower will appear at some point in the near future. And if it doesn't, you'll remind us, right?
Absolutely. The Unitarian rhododendron.
The congregation has some words of welcome and commitment, so I invite you to read them. We welcome you to this in the bulletin right under reception of new members. We welcome you to this congregation to share our dreams and to join your strength and wisdom ours as we create the future together. We pledge to you an openness of heart and mind and the willingness to grow with you in spirit, in understanding, and in fellowship. Now, John, this is your commitment to us, your intention, so I'm going to ask you to repeat after me, okay? Mm-hmm. We enter into membership in this congregation freely and gladly.
We enter into membership in this congregation freely and gladly.
With an understanding of the Unitarian Universalist faith.
With an understanding of the Unitarian Universalist faith.
And the responsibilities appropriate to membership in this community.
And the responsibilities appropriate to membership in this community.
We are ready to join with you on a common spiritual journey.
We are ready to join with you on a common spiritual journey.
And willing to add our portion.
And willing to add our portion.
Great or small.
Great or small.
To the Unitarian Universalist tradition.
To the Unitarian Universalist tradition.
Well, let's give John a hand as we all.
Thank you. Thank you.
The president of this congregation always likes to come through with the aid of others.
So the president is delivering.
Well,
his
thank you.
flowers.
Yellow flag.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much.
This bunch of roses, John, is very special, and you were very special. Now, John told me that he doesn't really go by John because there are a number of Johns here. Even in this small congregation, there are Johns. Are there any people here who go by the name Threadsy? No, there are no other Threadsies. Do you want to tell us how you came by that? And any other thing you want to tell us about you within about 2 minutes?
2 minutes. I think that's about as long as President Lincoln spoke at Gettysburg. May I become half as well known. Threadsy came about because after retirement I was looking for a hobby, and thanks to my lovely wife Carol, who is here today, I was able to learn. Let's hear it for Carol. I was able to learn the rudiments of a very rudimentary form of thread work involving thread and recycled plastic and cardboard. I'll bring a sample to show you what that's like. Now, the spelling of it, Threadsy, T-H-R-E-D-Z-I-E, is meant to rhyme with my favorite street name in Chicago, which is Kedzie. Kedzie Avenue. You true Chicagoans know it. 3200 West, 4 miles west of State Street. Okay, the reason I'm here specifically is because I was looking for someplace to hear other voices on other topics besides snowbirding and cruising and grandchildren and dogs and mortgages. And so here I am, and thanks to you, I haven't heard about any of those things really since I've been here. This is my 12th Sunday, and thank you for the warm welcome and the great support. Another reason I'm here is because I couldn't answer a question that was put to me at other congregations. I knew the answer, but under pressure, I just couldn't come up with it. The question was, where was Jesus born? First church I went to, under pressure, I stumbled and mumbled, and I said, well, it had to be the city of brotherly love. It was Philadelphia, of course. They threw me out quicker than you could imagine. After that reception, I went to the second place, and I was thinking now in terms of fire and brimstone, and so I said, well, it had to be Pittsburgh. I was evicted with even more enthusiasm. Well, then I came here, and Janet was helping me fill out the membership card, and I said, do you have any questions for me? You know, any like difficult questions? She said, no, just information about you. And we continued on talking, and I reminded her, I said, really, no more questions? No difficult questions? She said, no. And she said, how come you ask? And I saw the other congregations, they asked me this question, where was Jesus born? There was a pause, and I said, well, the suspense is killing me. Where was he born? And she said, by Bethlehem. And I said, darn me. Anyway, I just knew it was somewhere in Pennsylvania.
Let me show you to your seat. As we're kind of back to school, I also wanted to invite the Mormon Tabernacle Choir. So I'm hoping that we can have that on the wall. I have tried to stay away from the scariest, most frightening, most undermining, and most hopeful signs among all the things happening, being said and being done in America. I have hoped that concentrating on the experiences of love and light in our journeys would both contribute to my sanity and encourage you to do likewise, in your own way, of course. But things have been happening that set off alarm bells that shout, "Ignore at your peril." On Monday, I got an email from the Christian Century, a progressive magazine that tries to interpret current events with guidance from Christianity's better angels. It highlighted a guest editorial from a former magazine intern, Lilia Ellis. She, or the email, writes that while we are living in a time of political violence, we've got to practice and proclaim nonviolence as a way of life forward. Only nonviolence has brought miracles we can't explain and didn't expect. That reminded me of things that happened in our lifetimes that we didn't think could or would happen, but they did. In the 70s, I was the minister in a small Long Island Methodist church. A minister called me, a Methodist minister I didn't know, wanted to come to my church and tell us about the apartheid regime in South Africa. He would take any financial help we could give. He would go to South Africa to join a network of fighters for the freedom of all South Africans. We all learned from him the story of Nelson Mandela before he was released to win the presidency of that freed nation. And historical evil was lifted with the ending of apartheid. We didn't think it could happen, but it did. The Century article also mentioned the role of St. Nicholas Church in Prague in bringing down the Berlin Wall and the wall keeping Eastern Europe under Soviet domination. 10 years or so before that event, I think it was 1989, but 10 years before that, a small group in St. Nicholas Church started a nonviolent Pray for Peace movement that led to such groups all over Europe. A divided Europe slowly morphed into the EU. We didn't think it could happen, but it did. The point of that article was that nonviolence has been a powerful force in history, and we have to hope it will prove more powerful than the gun violence we keep seeing in America, only in America. We don't know how to make it happen, but until enough somebodies join together to make it happen, we remain in this land we do not recognize. People using guns to silence people they don't agree with. Van Jones of CNN wrote this week that he and Charlie Kirk were having a disagreement about why a woman was killed recently. They were texting each other. Jones told Kirk that Jones was wrong, and Kirk responded the day before his assassination, "Let's get together and talk about this." And the horrors go on. All voices in America have a right to speak up, and if they can be silenced by gun or intimidation, we all can be. And police, like the 3 in PA who arrived to stop domestic violence, became victims of it. So history has taught us that nonviolence is the way to protect our voices and our consciences and our votes. Freedom of religion, freedom of speech, freedom of the press are bedrock America's place in history and America's place in the world today. Freedoms of religion, speech, and press are also bedrock UU. Now, this is a couple short paragraphs from the century Lilia Ellis. Political violence in the past decade has followed the same pattern with alarming regularity, as if scripted beat for beat. Someone is shot. It could be a liberal figure or a conservative one. Some make appeals for turning down the temperature. Others redirect blame. People online celebrate or mourn, rinse and repeat, ad infinitum. The waves of violence and celebration cut against the heart of Christian teaching. Jesus famously taught us to love our enemies and pray for those who persecute us. But even some left-leaning Christians celebrated Kirk's death, just as they did the death of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson in December. In the age of assassinations and the social media mob, I like that expression, the social media mob, enemy love is as big a scandal as ever. Enemy love, love and prayer for your enemy. Now, for a sermon today, I wanted to lift up what has been a major dialogue in my brain since I was about 20. And it'll be brief because I've already given you half of a sermon. I had a literalistic, fundamentalist phase at the end of my teen years. I don't talk about it much, but I had it. And during that phase of about 2 years, I memorized as much scripture as I could. I thought that would be a good thing to do. So I learned lines about doubt that I can't quite forget. Lines like, if you believe and do not doubt, you have a better future, something like that. And this one I just can't seem to unload. A double-minded man is unstable. A man who doubts is double-minded and unstable in all his ways. I have been unstable a lot over my decades, but I don't attribute it to religious doubt I have had. And there are a couple other goodies like that. But in the meantime, when I got to college and got to reading, I was fortunate to get a hold of Paul Tillich, who wrote convincingly, because I was open to it, that doubt is evidence of faith, not the denial of faith. Doubt is a buttress of faith, not its diminishment. So ever since then, I've been kind of like that ancient mariner who has to stop people to say, hang on. Well, he was talking about the albatross, but I'm talking about doubt. And my line is, hang on to your doubt. It's a sign that your faith is alive. The word that best captures for me the relationship between doubt and faith is nagging. Each nags the other. Now, when do you hear the word nagging? Whom do you think of? While nagging may seem to have a negative connotation, like a toothache or headache, in our home experience, it is usually just a loving reminder, as in, did you take your, So much of it is for love, and often it goes down as lovingly as the cod liver oil I had to take as a child, another thing I can't seem to forget. A nagging relationship between faith and doubt suggests unsettled and unfinished. Unsettled and unfinished. You. That's the relationship faith and doubt have with me. So I fell into a UU congregation in 2007, and here I am. I haven't heard my doubts challenged. So we search for truth. We search for truth here, and we share our takes on truth. And we don't try to twist anybody's mind, heart, or arm about what the truth is. But we believe the truth will set us free, and it's a search for all of us. I'm often reminded of those words of a tortured marriage in Edward Albee's Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf. George to Martha, with the truth we don't have much hope, but without it we are damned. But the fact is, religion is not just the search for truth. In college, I learned that the root of the word religion is about choice. Choice. You have to choose what you believe in. You have to choose what you will live for. It's about choosing and commitment. And it is about passion, what we love, what we would die for. Now, to die for has become a kind of commercial thing. Everything in our land becomes a kind of commercial thing. So to die for reminds me of a Haagen-Dazs flavor. Rum raisin. If you've had it, you know why I can't forget it. But religion around the world is what people will really die for, can be cultivated to die for. So religious passion is pretty scary, but it is part of the definition of religion, what people choose to live for. I don't know how else to say this, but it seems to me that religion is in good part what I want to be true about the universe. What I want to be true about the universe. So this I believe because I want it to be true. I definitely want love, goodness, and truth to be at the heart of the universe and to last. I also want it to be part of what people who care about me and love me remember about me, and sometimes think he had some of that in him and he wanted and wants more of it for the world. I have to hope that. The nagging that goes on between my faith and my doubt reminds me of Robert Frost's epitaph, "I had a lover's quarrel with the world." In my brain and doubt, as they go after each other in a relationship of love, I can only call nagging. So they say to me, don't claim to know so much about what is true, and don't claim to doubt so much about what you think isn't. Be open toward both. Faith and doubt encourage openness. I happened to catch Amanpour yesterday, who had Matthew McConaughey. Did anybody hear that? He has a book. He was there because he's selling a book on faith and poetry or something like that. And the clip I heard was, "Don't land in doubt. Don't stay in doubt too long." How about a lifetime? Is that too long? And does that undercut your chances for the future? What if you didn't want a future that didn't encourage you to think, to question, and to doubt? I'll stick with Tillich's confirmation It shows that you have faith. That's what it has meant to me. Purpose and commitment and passion, what we love, make the enterprise of faith discussion a little more complicated and a whole lot more interesting than what we know or can prove to be true. As long as we have a brain, we have to go for truth. And one of our missions here in this community is to help each other learn what we have learned on our own and will share. Is it our curse, our blessing, or the hound of heaven? This nagging that goes on and that I am forced to share with you. Now we'll close with the hymn 199. This is a Christian gospel hymn. It's in our hymnal, 199. If your eyes wander down the page, you'll see that it was written by Thomas Dorsey. Do you know anything about him, John? Famous African-American gospel writer. But when I introduced this in another church I had, they thought, oh, Tommy Dorsey, we all know that name. No, Thomas Dorsey was a famous gospel writer, and we don't sing many gospel songs here, but the feeling this conveys is one I like to have, like that song you heard but did not see before the sermon. So 199, Precious Lord, take my hand. Stand or sit, whichever you want. Let's stop a sec. Open your hymnal if you don't have it already. Is there one around you? 199.
It's irregular.
What's that?
It says it's irregular.
Irregular?
It's irregular, so it's not when you're...
All right. Well, let's and you'll see over on the second page of 199 what we're singing now. And hopefully you'll join in. First two were... Please be seated. When you leave here today, I hope you don't leave with a great sense of doubt. But I hope you do understand we are a work in progress. We understand that. Now, the closing word, as thou dost extinguish, is from Margaret Mead, and I think it applies to what I've said and to who we are. Margaret Mead, never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world. Indeed, it's the only thing that ever has. Margaret Mead.